Good evening, this is BelGeode and we are back with some more X-Plane 11 in virtual reality. Howdy folks, and we are back here in X-Plane 11, and today is November the 18th, 2018. Tonight, we're going to be doing something extra special for my birthday. I have always wanted to fly the Mach Loop, but I don't want to do it in the typical way that most people do, you know, in your typical fighter jets like your F-15s or your Tornadoes, or even a Hawk for that matter. No, instead, I am going to do it in this bad girl right here. This is the FliteAdvantage T6A Texan 2, and in my opinion is one of the most complete models of the T6 Texan that I have ever seen. Not to mention, one of the more expensive add-ons that I've ever seen. We're here at Llanbedra, and we are going to be looking at a map in a moment here, compliments of Google, that will outline the exact path that we're going to be taking to fly the Mach Loop. And my apologies in advance to all the citizens of Wales for butchering your place names. Man, I hope you're ready for this one. Okay, so from Llanbedra, we're going to be heading south to probably the easiest pronounceable name of Barmouth. Once we reach Barmouth, however, we're going to turn inland, so that'll be a left, and there the names get a little bit tricky. First, we have to pass the town of Flite. And once we pass there, we're going to be making a right into the Mach Loop. And the Mach Loop is run counterclockwise. So we're going to be making a left right at the lake, which I believe is called Llyn. And we're going to be passing Chorus, and we're going to continue heading due south until we reach the namesake of the Mach Loop, the town of Mach Loop. Now, once we pass there, we're going to be hanging a left, and we're going to basically follow the river all the way up until it reaches the town of Mathlwyd. Once we get there, we're going to make a left, and we're going to continue going through the hills there until we get back to where we started from over at Dolgethly. When we reach there, we're heading out to sea, and then we'll go north, and finally come back to land here in Llanbedra. Whew! That's a mouthful, folks. I'm not even going to lie, and my apologies again to the people of Wales for all of that. Wow. Okay, let's get back to the aircraft. Alright, so the startup of the aircraft for me is somewhat easy. First, we're going to need a little bit of battery power here, and the switches in this aircraft are really tiny, so hitting it is interesting. You'll notice there's a bit of noise, so we'll turn off our master caution and our master warning. And we'll head over to the left console here and get our nav lights on. And I'm thinking we should probably also turn on our strobe or our beacon. Okay, everything's looking good there so far. Let's see, we've got the caution and warning panel. We need to have the ST ready light on, so we'll flip the little lever there. And if you'll notice in the bottom right of the caution and warning panel, we've got ST ready. So we're now ready for a startup. So let's get our ignition switch up to the on position, and then we will close our canopy. There we go. And actually that little canopy handle is supposed to move. I think it might be bugged out there. It's in a locked position. Okay, quick note on these mirrors. They added the X-Plane default quote-unquote mirror capability. So if you look there, you'll see that, and it'll show you what's behind you. Personally, though, and this is just a personal preference, I don't like using that. I would rather have just the default mirrors. I don't know. Something about it just doesn't look right to me, but that's just me. Anyway, let's go ahead and get the aircraft started. So we're going to hold the starter switch and flip it to the up position for a couple of seconds. We'll let it go, and then we will check our engine gauges and make sure that everything is coming up. It's drawing juice from the battery. You can see our PSI is going up, our temps going up, hydraulic pressure is now rising. So pretty much we are going to have a good start here. Alright, PSI on the hydraulic pressure is in the green. Yep, and I can hear the engine. We have a good start. The prop is spinning. Hey, I love it. I love it. All right, let's finish this up here by getting our generator on. And we can turn the ignition back to the norm position. We'll turn all of our avionics on. And of course, our oxygen. Even though we're not going to be flying very high today, I always get into the habit of turning that on. You never know when it might come in handy. Okay, back over to this side, I do believe we need our taxi lights on, so we'll flip that there. And I'm going to turn the knobs up on the panel lights and instrument lights. There we go. That's just another habit that I'm into. I kind of like being able to see everything. Alright, let's get this on. I think this is our ADF, if I'm not too mistaken. I don't know, I could be wrong. And we'll get our GPS on. We won't need the GPS for this flight because I think I've pretty much got it down pat, but we like to have it on anyway. Our runway heading is 170, which is off in that direction. So I want to make sure that I have my course and heading needle set. Our altitude is currently set, so we're pretty much at sea level right now. You'll see the backup altimeter will also mimic what the main altimeter is doing. Okay. I want to say our flaps should be in a takeoff position, so we'll just take care of that. Can't really see them because they're underneath the wing, but we can do our controls wipeout here. Alright, ailerons check out. Elevator, can't really see it from in here. Maybe the guy in the back seat can. And by the way, you can fly with a second person in this. It does enable a smart co-pilot as well. Alright, everything looks good. So let's get our TAD, or our trim aid device, up and running. Okay, and there are no more lights on the caution and warning panel. So I think we're pretty much set to roll in this baby. Okay, so the last thing that we need to do is we need to push the throttle forward to the flight idle position. And there are keybinds for that, so I just want to make sure you're aware of that. You have to set these keybinds, otherwise your throttle will not move. But now that we got that done, we'll get the brakes off and we will head out to runway 17. And it should be a pretty short taxi to get there. So, we will be right back at the hold short. All right, we are at the hold short, and oh, wow, those brakes are a little sharp. Okay, couple things we need to do before we taxi out to the runway. First, let's get our landing lights officially on. So we'll flip that up. And I should probably also turn on our transponder. So we'll just set it to on there. That should be good enough. Okay. Okay, everything looks good to me. I don't see any warning lights, so we're good to go. Alright, let's get our brakes off. And we'll start taxiing out. Whoa. Steering in this thing is a little bit odd, but I'm noticing that that tends to be more of an X-plane thing rather than this aircraft. Alright, no traffic coming in, no traffic going out, which is fine because I never set traffic anyway. It seems like a rarity that you actually ever see any AI aircraft flying in my sim. We do need to take a left here, though, because the runway we're looking for is kind of offset. You may notice it is a little bit windy out today, according to Mr. Windsock over there. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting takeoff. At least we've got flaps down to take off position, so that should help us out considerably. I'm going to pull the power back a little bit. And we're going to stop on the piano keys. I think that should be good. HSI says we are lined up dead center, so that is perfect. All right. I tell you what, I haven't flown a T6A in any flight sim for quite some time. I think the last time that you actually saw one on this channel was in my three-part Prepared version 4 series where I did that tour of Hawaii. Alright, let's get parking brakes on. One important thing you are going to need to do with the T6A is you need to make sure you set your takeoff trim. If you look just under the landing gear handle, you'll see those three little airplane icons there. Try to zoom in a little bit for you. There's green marks that indicate where you need to have it set for takeoff. So you've got like your rudder trim, your elevator and aileron trim, which you do need to have set because the torque on this thing is mighty impressive. But I think we've got everything just about good to go. So folks, you know what it's time for. Brakes down, throttles up. We'll wait for the torque to get to the proper position. Brakes are off, and let's go, go, go. And just like that, we are in clean configuration, so we're going to follow the coastline south until we hit the mouth of the river over by Barmouth. And then we'll make our turn inland and begin the Mach Loop experience. So the plan is to bring her up to about 2,000 feet, thereabouts, and then we will do our left-hand turn to head inland past Barmouth. Now, the first thing that I can really say about this aircraft is the performance. I absolutely love the performance in this thing because they nailed it. They absolutely got it right. And they would have to, because FliteAdvantage, their primary audience for this aircraft are the United States Air Force, believe it or not. They actually designed this thing with the intent to have real-life cadets use it as a training device to learn the real aircraft. So everything is modeled, and they did an impressive job on it. And of course we had to do a fancy little turn because BelGeode. So we're just now passing the town of Barmouth and we are heading into the river. I believe this is called Avon Mautak. Hopefully I got that right. I have no clue, but we're just gonna go with that. We're just gonna go with that. If you don't like it, you can always chime in the comments as usual. Alright, but with that having been said, we're going to continue down the river until we reach the town of Dolgethlai. And as I mentioned on the map scene, we are going to be making a right there to get into the Mach Loop. Alright. I think we can definitely handle this. It's going to be the slowest I've ever done the Mach Loop, I did try it in the X-Trident Tornado as well as the Just Flight Hawk, but it didn't quite feel the same for me. Ladies and gentlemen, there it is, the beginning of the infamous Mach Loop. I hope you're strapped in tight, because this is going to be a fun ride. As we make our way south towards the lake, you're going to notice some of the best aspects of this Orbx scenery. And I will remind you, this is Orbx TrueEarth, Great Britain, South. We're still expecting Central and North at some point in time. Don't ask me when exactly that's going to be. But when it does arrive, of course, I will be showing it off. And here is our lake, known as Llyn Mwyngyl, and I am going to make the left right now. Off to the left is the town of Chorus, and to the right is the popular attraction known as King Arthur's Labyrinth. If I ever get the chance to go to Wales, I hear that is the thing to see when you're there. So yeah, that's now on my bucket list officially. And we've actually got a trailer park here. I wasn't quite sure what Orbx meant this to be, but I did take a look at it on the map. And yeah, it's actually a trailer park here, or excuse me, a caravan park. You gotta say it like the natives do, I guess. Alright, but we're gonna swing around a little bit more here, and then we will go to the outside view once we are just north of Machlouph. And at that point in time, we are gonna make our left-hand turn to follow the river for the second half of the Mach Loop. So, I'm gonna go back to the outside view and have you guys enjoy the ride. So I hope you all had a good look at Machlouph, and that is the last you will see of it as we make our way down the river. I believe this river is called the Avondovey. It's kind of spelt D-Y-F-I, I believe, but that's probably how it's pronounced, this Dovey. So we're going to go with that. Now, one thing I do want to point out that I did notice with Orbx's scenery here, at least in this part of the scenery, there are some houses and some trees that are kind of jutting out into the middle of the road there. So I don't know if they plan on fixing that anytime. Off to the right is the town of Glantúimin, and we're going to continue following the river until we get to Mach Loop, where we will be making our left-hand turn to complete the last leg of the Mach Loop. Now, a little bit about this aircraft. Earlier I said it was one of the more expensive add-ons that I've seen for X-Plane. It's about 99 bucks. And bear in mind, I don't use add-ons like the Flight Factors or the IXEGs or anything like that. So for me, it's pretty pricey. But with that being said, would I still recommend it? Absolutely, especially if you are interested in joining like the United States Navy or the United States Air Force or even the RAF for that matter. You might want to get familiar with this aircraft. This is what they used. As a matter of fact, the livery that I'm using right now, this livery is the actual livery that's being put on the RAF aircraft that are going to be shipped over there. Now, the developers are adding more and more features to this, and it is my understanding that they're working with Joe from SimVR Labs to come up with an interactive VR walkaround similar to what he did for Hotstart's TBM 900. We made it, folks! Yay! So that will complete the actual Mach Loop. So I'm going to give us some altitude here, and we'll do a little bit of a victory roll for having successfully made it all the way through the Mach Loop. Not that there was ever any doubt at all. Alright, so that is the northern entrance that we went through earlier. You can actually enter this thing from the south. So we are just to the east of the town of Dolgethlai, which is where we started from. Now, just to kind of touch a little bit more on that whole walk-around business, even though SimVR Labs is helping them work on the VR walk-around, this thing ships with a 2D walk-around that you can do. And I would definitely recommend that you do that, especially if you want to, stay true to form and actually go through your exterior checklists before you step foot in the aircraft. It is very educational. And speaking of flying the aircraft, if you want to learn how to do that, honestly, don't rely on the manual that you get with this thing. Instead, download the real-life NATOPS manual for this thing. I promise, it's that accurate. We are going to make our way back to the river Avon Maltak on our way out to sea past Barmouth, and then we'll head north and begin the landing. Looks like some of them trees are a little bit odd. Orbx, fix that, please. Oh, one thing I will say about this aircraft is failures are fully modeled. So if you really want to test yourself, you can set up some random failures and it will have you running to the manual to figure out what the emergency procedure is to fix it. Needless to say, we're not going to be showing off that aspect of the aircraft today. Wouldn't be me if I didn't do a fancy turn. Alright, let's get our speed brakes out here because we really need to lose a lot of airspeed. That airport is going to come up really quickly. Incidentally, I'm not even sure what the current status of this airport is. I don't know if it actually still exists or if it is, you know, like barely used. But it does still show up on Google Maps, and obviously it shows up here in X-Plane, so I'll take it. You know what? I will take it. For this leg of our Orbx tour, it is definitely a great staging area. Alright, I think we've lost enough speed, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off the air brakes and we'll get the gear down, we'll dirty them up, and prepare to land at our airport. Okay, confirmed, gear is down, flaps down 1 notch. We'll do the 2nd notch as soon as we finish our downwind leg here. You can see the far end of the runway. We're going to need to go past this peninsula and then make a right-handed base leg turn and base to final turn. Alright, and I don't know if any of you longtime viewers remember just how floaty this thing can be, so I'm going to try to see if I will avoid that on approach. But needless to say, I'm still enjoying this aircraft. This is actually the best implementation that I've flown thus far, and you remember how much I love the FSX version. Alright, let's go to the outside for our downwind leg. Looking good so far. There's the airport. You can see all the various sandbanks and so on. That's one thing I will say Orbx did do a really good job on in this part of the scenery. Those nifty little sandbanks. I'd actually love to go there just to kind of chill in this area. I bet it's really neat. Alright, let's line ourselves up here to a proper downwind leg. If we're going to do this, we're going to try and do it right. And we'll also get our flaps down full. Prepare for the bubble. Yep, I'm going to have to push her down just a little bit here because she really wants to fly. Alright, our speed is a little low, but I think I can hold it like right here. Of course, I'll need to pull up the throttle and get a little bit more speed as we come into the turn. That's a little trick that I learned from flying the Hornet in DCS. Yeah, you got to pull your power into the turn there. So this looks about right. Let's begin our base leg turn. Okay, so we are on base. This is going to be a very short base leg because I didn't go far enough out, but that's fine. I think I can handle this. I kind of like those quick turns because you tend to bleed off speed rather quickly if you're in a continuous turn in this thing. Although, with that having been said, I have seen some amazing aerobatic work done with this aircraft in real life. So, yeah, she can handle it. I probably should have turned on my fuel pump as well. However, whoops. Don't forget that we still have Avatab that we can also use with our checklists and so on. Alright, come on baby, hold it together. I'm watching that AOA indexer, but the wind is blowing me all over the place. I think I may have jinxed myself when I talked about its floatiness. Nope, nope, I think we got it. I think we got it. Alrighty folks, welcome back to Flamberdre, and we are in for a long taxi back to the other side because I floated halfway down the runway. Whoops! Sorry about that. But you know what? I'm not going to complain because I've thoroughly enjoyed myself with this aircraft, and you're probably going to be seeing more videos with this aircraft. If there's one thing I could say for the developers, if you could also do me a solid and make the 2 liveries that I really, really love. Those of you who are familiar with my FSX series or even my P3D series will remember the shark livery and the tiger liveries. They were designed to be display models, if you will, for both the United States Navy and the United States Air Force. I would love to have both liveries available in this aircraft, even if it's not something that's actually done in real life. I think that would be the perfect touch, so thank you in advance if you do decide to make that. Alright, but we are going to go ahead and taxi to our parking spot, and looks like some aircraft arrived as we were out. Don't ask me how that happened. I think that's probably courtesy of Orbx spawning static aircraft. And jeez, look at that wind. Alright, so we'll take a quick stop here at the hold short before we make our turn to the right. Let me turn off our landing lights. Doesn't look like we're stopping, so I guess we're making the turn now. Whee! Alright, and yes, it does look like some aircraft did come in, so I'm thinking we're probably going to park in between them. First, let me turn off our transponder. We'll set it back to standby. Oh wait, there's an out setting? Oh, who knew? Huh, I thought it was just on. Whoops. I guess I need to read the manual again, huh? Wow. Alright, I'm done. I'm done. Let me mosey back over to our parking spot here. I do hope that you enjoyed our trip through the Mach Loop. I have to say, though, I think I had more fun flying the Mach Loop in this aircraft than I did flying it in aircraft that were actually intended to go through it, like the Tornado or the Hawk. I don't know, there's just something about this aircraft that I've had a long time love affair with, and I'm glad to know that FliteAdvantage did do it justice because, yeah, this is one of my favorite aircraft to fly. Alright, I'm going to turn around right here, and I think I'm going to pull up next to that beach. Yeah, that should fit just nicely there. And we're nice and close to the fuel, too, so when I want to fly out of here, I can just, like, gas up and go, basically. Okay, but that will just about do it for me. So just to remind you, we've been flying in the FliteAdvantage T6A Texan 2. It is definitely one of the pricier add-ons you are going to find for X-Plane, but it is also worth it, in my opinion. So definitely consider it. And devs, maybe you might want to cut a special deal for those of us who use X-Plane with the expectation that we're just going to have fun. In any event, thank you as always for watching. This has been BelGeode. I have been flying in X-Plane 11 over Orbx, TrueEarth, Great Britain. Next episode, we will be back with leg number 3, but until then, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Ciao!